And today, our illy coffee is wrapped up in a Big Sky Country Montana mug. Oh, what a way to start the end of the week. Hope everyone's doing well out there, and we are ready to kick off your cup of cyber. Put this giant white box here so we can see what's going on. So today, we're going to talk about the king of all security certifications, the Certified Information System Security Professional, or they call it the CISSP or CISSP. Many folks will tell you this is the top certification in computer security or in cybersecurity. Now, I don't know, is that true or not? I don't know. Is it a hard exam? For most people, yes. This is a difficult exam. It'll open a lot of doors. Many places require this certification for your top positions, directors and CISOs and leadership positions. The DoD has put it in the top levels of their certification requirements. It is whether you like it or whether you hate it, it is one of the best recognized certifications for security or cybersecurity or even cyber in the world. I mean, people around the globe get this thing. I don't know. I'd have to look how many numbers, but there's a ton of people that have this thing, and it's required for a lot of jobs. So it opens doors. Like it, hate it. It is, in my opinion, maybe arguably, the king of all security certifications. So, if you're seeking a career in cyber or security, this is the certification you should aim to get. And you can't get it right off the bat. You can't get it as a new person in cyber. There's some requirements we'll talk about. So let's talk about requirements. This exam is almost $700, $699 US to get this thing. So it's a little bit of money. And if you miss your certification exam, you're late running there, you don't get there on time, and you don't notify them, you lose the money. You don't pass the exam, of course you lose the money. They've made the retake fee pretty easy. It's easy to figure out. The retake fee, it's $699 too. So if you don't pass it the first time around, it's going to be another $700 to take the dang thing. It is pricey. It's pricey, and it's about $85 every year to maintain the CISSP. ISC Squared is the organization that manages, maintains, and runs this certification, along with a number of other certifications. And as you get them, each of them, you'll be required to maintain them. There's requirements for what they call CPUs, or continuing educational units, or CEUs, CPUs. That means you have to do a certain number of training hours each and every year, and every 3-year period, which is the cycle that you're tied to. Every 3 years, you have to recertify. You don't have to retake the test, but you have to recertify. You have to go make sure that you have lived up to the standards, the ethical standards, and the training requirements for the CISSP. They'll review your records. They'll make sure everything's cool every 3 years, and then really you get reissued another CISSP. Every year you pay $85. But if you're in security, this is the thing to get. They use a computer adaptive test now. Back in the good old days when I took it, it was a paper-based test. You opened a paper book and you filled out the Bubbletron thing and you sent it off, and it was weeks before you figured out your score, whether you passed or not. Now you'll know whether you passed or not right away, but that doesn't mean you're a CISSP. You still have to be vetted. You have to send paperwork in, and that may take weeks as well. So it's adaptive. So you have to you'll get between 100 and 150 questions, depending how you go through the exam. So as you go through it, if you answer questions good or bad, it will throw more questions into those areas. Adaptive tests are weird. So you may go in and get 100 questions. Your buddy may go in and get 125, and another person may go in and get 150. Each test is going to be different. It's going to be spit out by the computer. definitely different, but you'll know at least that day whether you passed it. It was terrible in the old days when you had to sit around and wait for an email to come in to say whether you passed or not. So you may, like for me, I was young. I started studying again because I didn't think I passed the dang thing. But it's again worth getting. You have to get essentially a 70%. 700 out of 100 out of 100. 700 out of 1,000 points is required to pass this thing. And again, those are weighted a little bit. They've got what they call experimental questions in there that are not graded. They're mixed in with your questions, and you won't know which ones are which. But if you don't answer an experimental question correctly, it doesn't count against you. But you don't know which ones those are. So what they're doing is they're testing new questions. They're always testing new questions to increase the question pool for the exam and make the exam better. So you're going to have a number of experimental questions in there too. You don't know what they are, but they won't count against you. But again, hard to tell. You got 3 hours to complete this thing. It takes a good bit of time to get through it. I know most people finish probably around the 2 hour, 2.5 hour mark. Some people obviously come in earlier than that, and some people come in a bit later. Let me get this other junk out of the way here. Whoops. And 5 years, two domains. So you have to have 5 years experience in at least 2 domains of the CISSP body of knowledge. So we'll talk about the domains because that's what you're tested on. That's what the certification exam is based all around. But of the domains we're just about to talk about, you have to have 5 years experience in at least 2 of those domains to even be qualified to be a CISSP. So there's some requirements, and we'll provide a link below to the ISC² site where you can go out and read more about the CISSP. Again, if you are serious at all about your career in security, you need to put this on your calendar. If you just started, put this thing, 5 years from now. You can go take an exam and be an associate of ISC², associate for the CISSP. You won't be a CISSP until you get vetted and have those experience levels. So, talk about domains. Domain 1 is security and risk management. Domain 2, asset security. And again, security and risk management. You're going to talk about, basic computer security principles and risk management. How do we manage risk? In security, generally our job is to drive down risk and increase security, right? And we do that with a risk-based approach. We don't spend $1 million to secure something that costs 50 cents, right? We balance that, right? Asset security, how do we keep our assets secure? And what is an asset? Obviously a computer, but reputation and image can be assets as well. 3 is security architecture and engineering. How do we design and build secure systems? How do we make sure that the things we're developing are secure? And what are engineering standards that we follow to make sure that we're doing things the right way, right? Domain 4 is communications and network security. How do we secure the network infrastructure, the underlying fabric that all this stuff runs on? That we have to know, how to secure the networks. And networks are big now. Wireless area networks, wide area networks, local area networks, personal area networks. Everything from your phone connecting to your Bluetooth. Everything from your phone connecting to your Bluetooth device to a computer connecting to the internet to some other computer in another nation. That's all networking. So we have to, make sure you know the how networking works, right? How to secure networking. Domain 5 is identity and access management. This is we think about this. How do we issue credentials? What is a credential? How do we do authentication? Is it just a username and password, or is it something like, multi-factor authentication where we have a common access card or some kind of token and a PIN or a password and biometrics? What are the things that make up our identity and access management? How do we do it? Do we use a device? Do we use some kind of application? Do we use, what is it how do we prove who people are and give them access to the things they need access to? Domain 6, security assessment and testing. How do we make sure that we're building systems securely? Like in the engineering domain, we built systems securely. Now we have to go validate that those things are built securely, and we need to continue to do that over time. We continue to make sure that they're secure. So how do we do that? That's what Domain 6 is all about. Domain 7, security operations. How do we maintain security operations across the organization? Things like your security operations center, monitoring of systems and networks and your environment. This is where we have things like the security operations center and areas like that. And then Domain 8, software development and security. This is all about building and ensuring that we're building secure applications. How do we do that? How do we make sure that that happens? Again, this is a exam that you shouldn't take lightly. It's a good one. It's one of the best out there for your career. Whether it's one of the best certifications out there, that's up to debate, right? A lot of people will put the CISA, the certified auditor, up against this exam, this certification. But it's, this is, if you talk to 100 people in security, they're going to say this, the majority of them will say CISSP is kind of the top certification in security. So should you want to get into security, should you want to make this thing your career, if you're starting out, look at this as an end goal in your security certification path, right? One of your end goals, right? Good thing about security is we never stop learning. You have to always keep up to date with what's new. The attacker, the bad guy, is always going to be developing new stuff. Technology is going to continue to advance, right? When I started in security over 25 years ago now, no one would have thought about securing phones, right, as part of a security program, or securing a car as part of your security program, or Internet of Things, the things you have in your house. If you're entering this field, there's always that thought of going into government security or private sector security. But what are the new advances coming at us? Think about things like, the Internet of Things. As homes become smarter, right? Ring cameras and Nest thermostats and connected devices, voice-activated things, Alexa and Google Home. All these things are network connected. They're all little operating systems, and they're all running on your home network. Those have to be secured. There could be an opportunity in the future, or maybe even today, for a niche security professional, right, where you can go in and secure people's homes, right? To do that, you're going to need some type of credentialing. So again, something like the CISSP is going to prove that you are serious about your security career, going to prove that you know knowledge across multiple domains. And it is, if we're going to say there is a King certification, this is the King certification. This is the one that kind of lords over all other certifications, right? We talk about ways you can get there, right? So think about certifications you're taking along your path to get here, right? If you're looking at taking the Security Plus, which doesn't have as stringent requirements, you don't need, the 5 years in 2 of the domains. You can go take that. It is what most people would say a less exhaustive exam. It's not as tough as the CISSP. And again, these are all based on personal statements. Some people will say Security Plus is harder than the CISSP. Not many, but some could. But I would say, as you're building your roadmap to your security career, many of the domains in Security Plus lead right to CISSP, right? So as you study for Security Plus, you're going to be building your knowledge base, your information base for the CISSP. And other exams as you go along will feed into your knowledge to get you ready to pass the CISSP when it's time, right? So again, there are some requirements that you have to have, right? You have to pay the money. This is one of the big ones. 5 years in 2 of the domains. That's gonna make sure that you've been in the field long enough. So hopefully this is something that will help you. Hopefully you're getting something out of the morning talks. Hopefully, you can share with your friends. If you got folks that want to get into cybersecurity, or you want to, help maybe pass the knowledge along, share these videos with your friends. Like, comment down below. Let us know what you want to hear. What are you interested in? Are you a CISSP? Do you have the exam? Have you passed the exam? Do you have the certification? What do you think about it? If you've been around a little while, or if you're new to the field, what do you think about the CISSP? Is the CISSP? Is it all it's cracked up to be? Do you think it's worth the money? Comment below. Let us know. Let's talk about the CISSP. Let's see what's going on with it. Hit the bell to be notified when new stuff's coming out. Subscribe to the channel. Helps get our numbers up. It's always good. Doesn't hurt, and doesn't cost you a thing. So, anyways, hopefully you got good plans for the weekend. Hopefully, if you're in a place where it's cold and chilly, you're staying warm. Throw something on red today and have yourself a good day. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next week.